What's up, everyone? It's Scotty with Money Vesting. So let's talk about NVDA. NVIDIA is going to be reporting earnings next week. So in this video, I'm going to break down everything you need to know prior to the numbers coming out. We'll talk about the earnings expectations. We'll talk about the consensus, the sentiment right now on the stock, on the company. We'll talk a little bit about the market share, how it competes and kind of trades against some of the other chip stocks out there. Everything, including the technical analysis prior to the numbers coming out. So as always, if you enjoy this video, find it helpful, make sure that you drop a like. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Link to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below if you're interested in joining. And of course, getting access to all the buy and sell alerts, options alerts, trade ideas, everything's going to be included, as well as our members only private videos, intrinsic value spreadsheets, and our trading view charts as well. There is a 16% annual discount that does expire at the end of this month. So links going to be down below if you want to take advantage of that as well. So when it comes to NVIDIA right now, trading at just over $432, just under $433 per share. Market cap is steady at just over $1 trillion for the market cap. And this right here is going to be those earnings expectations. They are going to be reporting on Wednesday after the bell, which is August 23rd, a day before the Jackson Hole Economic Symposium begins. And the earnings estimates are going to be a little bit over $2.07 on over $11 billion of revenue. The consensus for this year, fiscal year 24, is of revenue of over $44 billion and an EPS, which is earnings per share, of over $8 per share. And $8 per share has been revised up by multiple analysts multiple times in multiple different months from $4, $3 just a few months ago. And the reason for that, two letters, AI. Artificial intelligence, right? Two words. And that's been the primary driver for the stock price, the price action itself, the momentum, the sentiment, the company's expectations when it comes to revenues and earnings and market cap and market share, total addressable market. There's everything. NVIDIA is just synonymous with AI at the moment. Now, if you take a look at Wall Street, and I've never really seen so much bullishness on a stock ever. I mean, Tesla has been the most polarized of the bunch, right? You've seen both buy ratings, sell ratings, underperform, outperform, but I've never seen such bullish optimism on a stock. I mean, Apple, yeah, Apple is Apple, like biggest company in the world, like next to Saudi Aramco, but publicly traded. And of course, most analysts are going to put a buy rating on Apple, but NVIDIA, it's different. You've got 51 buy ratings, of which 15 are strong holds, 29 are straight up buys, 6 are hold, only 1 underperform, and 0 sell ratings, right? And the highest price target, as we already know from Rosenblatt, comes in at just over $800 per share. The average comes in at $515, which represents about a 19% upside from these levels. And even the lowest price target is $368. Lowest is $368. Lowest expects NVIDIA to only drop by 10 to 15%. When you know the lowest price target is that low, which is not even that low, you know how strong the momentum and the optimism and the euphoria is on a particular company. So this right here, again, is the earnings expectations. And very few companies right now in the market have seen 34 analysts upgrade their EPS in the last 90 days, right? They haven't even seen upgrades, let alone 34 analysts upgrading their stock earnings expectations. So a little bit over $2 is going to be the EPS. It's over $11 billion in revenue. If you take a look at the earnings expectations, like I said, $8 is going to be that growth rate all the way up to $26.58. And of course, that's going to be 141% growth this year, followed by 43%, 31%, then slowing down to 17, 34. Then analysts are expecting a bit of a contraction. And then again, staying in the mid-teens for NVIDIA in terms of growth. Revenue expected at $44 billion. Again, 63% growth expected in revenue. And that's going to normalize over time at just under $140 billion by 2033. This right here is an article that came out today, August 19th. This is what I'm talking about. This is a headline from today, everyone. August 19th. The bull market in artificial intelligence is just getting started. 2 big reasons to buy NVIDIA stock right now. The fact that they mentioned the bull market in artificial intelligence is just getting started, it's incredible. First of all, demand for AI chips is exploding. So look, a lot of these there's no argument for these things. Yes, the demand for AI chips is exploding. No doubt about it. And this right here, a new chip design should fortify NVIDIA's AI dominance. They control over 75% of the market for advanced AI semiconductors, according to Bank of America. That's next to, of course, their competition, AMD, Intel. So there's no doubt about a lot of these tailwinds that are being driven by artificial intelligence. The question isn't on the business itself. The question isn't on the validity of AI. The question is how much has already been priced in? How much of that explosion in AI chips is priced into the price and the company's valuation and the market cap? That's the real question, because at the end of the day, what Howard Marks teaches us is very much about you don't make money by buying good assets, you make money by buying good prices. You could have a fantastic asset, high quality, A plus asset, but if you end up overpaying for it, you're not going to make money. But if you have a really bad quality asset, even if it's a bad quality asset, but you underpay, you get a good deal, you get a bargain, well, guess what? You're going to make money because you underpaid for that asset, right? So your price was better. So that's the whole idea behind a lot of the analysis that we do is based on price and, of course, understanding the value. Price and value are like the starting points for any stock analysis, right? The price is what the market decides it should be worth. The value is what you decide where the company should be trading at or should be worth, right? So value is what you decide, price is what the market decides. And in this case, the price, obviously, in my opinion, at least for NVIDIA, way higher than what the value is. And price is obviously pricing in a lot of this tailwinds on artificial intelligence. So, going over to margins, again, it's a stellar business, no doubt about it. Very strong gross profit margins, net margins, return on equity, capital assets. Everything's just absolutely phenomenal. Balance sheet's perfect with more cash than debt, so negative net debt of $3.2 billion. You got a current ratio, quick ratio, very strong. Debt to free cash flow also pretty good. Now again, we come down to valuation, 150 times non-GAAP trailing basis, and and of course on a GAAP basis, trailing 226. But forward, we're trading at 53.54. Price to sales is insane at trailing basis, 41.5, 24 on a forward basis. Not to mention price to cash flow at 157 trailing, 54 on a forward basis. So if these are levels that investors are comfortable with, then of course by all means be my guest. But bottom line is valuation is the real hesitation for me. So talking a little bit about the technicals, and I have no doubt in my mind that NVIDIA is going to come out with a blowout quarter. So if you talk about the earnings that are coming up on Wednesday, in my opinion, they're going to go ahead and beat those EPS. They're going to come ahead and, of course, beat the revenue as well. So I have no doubt believing that NVIDIA is going to report a blowout quarter on the back of AI and, of course, all the demand that we're seeing with generative AI and the chips. The question will then become the guidance, which I'm sure Jensen Huang, smart enough to provide some good guidance, and not to mention artificial intelligence in their earnings call several times over, so that they can obviously take advantage and of course squeeze this as much as they can, and of course make it very well known that they are the leader and nobody's coming close in the AI battle when it comes to NVIDIA and of course some of the other companies out there. So those things are a given. What is going to be interesting is how the markets react to that earnings call, to the earnings beat and the guidance, which, like I said, in my opinion, they're going to provide very solid guidance and earnings beats. Now, are we going to see a valuation reset or not? Because 1 trillion is no joke. 1 trillion is a pretty substantial number. Even at $44 billion in revenue this year, the company is trading at a little bit over 22 times sales, which is pretty high. I mean, we look at 22 times earnings. This company's trading at 22 times sales. So a lot of it has already been priced in, as I've already mentioned. So support level is going to be at $403. So this right here is going to be that support. So what you will notice is that NVIDIA, it's traded sideways here, broke out of that resistance, came back down to validate that previous resistance as a support, broke out of this resistance, once again, came back down to test this resistance as a support, got rejected here, so had a little bit of a double top, and then got sold off, so broke down here, once again validating this support over here, so getting bought up again, and now this old support acting as a resistance. So what we are seeing is very, very clear signs of a potential, again, I say a potential downtrend forming, where this right here is the lower high and a potential lower low. So we are seeing a little bit of a downtrend formation for NVIDIA starting out. Is that going to continue to play through? We don't know. Earnings will tell us a little bit more, and of course the price action after. But this right here was the higher high and the higher low, so you were in an uptrend for a very long time before, of course, this right here, the turning point for NVIDIA, which was the high, all-time high for NVIDIA, and of course trading down in that downtrend. So if that ends up being a potential breakdown here, next support is going to be all the way down here at 360s. We've also got a gap to fill after the earnings, and of course my fair values sub 300, closer to this green rectangle, which obviously is going to require a lot of potential downside for NVIDIA from these current levels, about 41-42%. So if it can drop down to those levels, be very interested in once again starting a new position, maybe selling some puts at those prices. And I just want you guys to observe and save this video for later. Let's just come back to this video 6 months from now and see where NVIDIA stock price is, and how the narrative is, like how the narrative is either changed for the better or for the worse. Let's just come back to that, because I want us to take these as case studies, right? A lot of these are case studies that you can learn a lot from, because Enphase, Netflix, PayPal, Meta, Tesla, Google, a lot of these stocks over the last 3 years, 4 years have been tremendous case studies that can actually be taught in business schools on stock sentiment, the narrative, analyst upgrades, downgrades, fair value, the price action, the fundamentals. A lot of these things are, intertwined, that are represented in the price. And a lot of the times we see the prices go down on sentiment, not on the company's value. A lot of the times prices go up on sentiment, again, not on the company's value. So let's just come back to this video and see where the sentiment is 6 months from now, because right now everyone in their minds is bullish on NVIDIA. Let's see if that actually ends up being true 6 months from now. So hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it helpful. If you did, make sure that you drop a like. I've already mentioned support levels for NVIDIA to watch at $403 going into next week, all the way down to $367. And then below that, we start kind of filling that gap from earnings from last time. And my fair values and the very strong support is going to be sitting sub 300, closer to 291 to 262. And a resistance going into this earnings print, 441. And of course, the all-time high at $480. So as always, happy investing, and I'll see you all in the next video.